Starting from today, we will do a new topic, part B, basic HTML elements. In this part, we will learn several very basic and very important HTML elements. After this part, we can do our first programming project. Okay, yeah. So we have enough material. We can work on our first group of questions in one project. So in one project assignment, I will put 3 or 4 questions there. So each one very small, very simple. Yeah. So that's the reason I put several. Yeah. Otherwise, too easy for you. All right. So let's look at our first HTML element. In this part, B.1, that's our part 1, we will learn 2 important elements. The first one, image element. I gave you in the previous video, but I didn't explain how to use it. Here, let me explain the details, how to use this special important element. The tag for this image element, img. img, yeah, very simple. Yeah. All right. So it is used to embed an image in a web page. We know in a typical HTML document, a web page, people may like to embed many images. Yeah. So how to do that? Yeah. So it's very simple. Yeah. Here, so let's look at the basic syntax to do it. Yeah. The image tag is empty. Empty tag. That means there is no content. We only just use the tag. That's enough to provide all the information we need to embed one image. No content. So it is empty. Yeah. It contains attributes only. We use attributes to specify all the information we need for this image. And it does not have closing tag. Yes, that's the problem. Yeah. It does not have a closing tag. This could cause problem, right? Yeah. Remember when I talk about the validation, HTML, and remember connect to XML. We know XML require closing tags for all the elements. Yeah. So then enforce XML rules on HTML. So then we have the XHTML, right? XHTML. Yeah. In that case, we have to make all the original HTML tags modify a little bit to close those tags. For image, yes, we have a chance. We can, close it using this way. All right? You close it. Use this slash in front of the closing sign, greater than sign, that sign. In front of that, you can close it. You can close it. Yeah. So later we will see. We may use this version later. Yeah. All right, but at this point, if you do not close it, you have no problem. Okay. For web browser, you have no problem. All right. Yeah. But in some other situations, you may have problems. So later I will explain that problem more. Yeah. Here, let's just we only consider the HTML situation. All right. First, now we look at the 2 required attributes for this tag. The first one, source, src, source. It specifies the path to the image. Where is the source of your image, right? From the name, we need to provide the source of the image. The source, to provide the source, there are two ways. Two ways to provide a source. The first way, the source from current server. Right? Because the current web page comes from a server, right? Yeah. A web page has to come from one server, one particular server. Then the image, if it comes from the same server of that HTML document, the same one, then we use path, right? When we use pathway. Same server. You do not need to change the server. You can use the same server, so you use the path. No, that's the case we put here. But you can reference an image from a different server, right? A different server. The source comes from different server. Yeah. So here I put from a remote server. In that case, we can use URL, right? How do we refer to the remote server? URL. URL, yeah. All right, so that's the source. Alt attribute, alt attribute is specify an alternative text for the image. Why we need to provide the alternative text? Because think about the situation when people refer to a particular image. If that image, for some reason, it is not available, what would happen? You see something empty, right? You see, breaking. So this feature, this reference breaks. But you need to tell your user some information when it breaks, right? Alternative text, you tell your users or your audience, I want to put image about some particular, topic, the content, some message you want to convey, you put some information there in the alternative text. Yeah. In that way, your audience will feel, this image is not available, but the author wants to put an image about some special topic here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. The syntax, the concrete syntax, complete one like this one. Here, the URL, although we put here the value, double quotes URL, so you can use the regular URL, HTTP, colon double slash, or HTTPS, regular URL, or the path. This is the pathway. That's for the current server. Yeah, we know this is for the current server. For the current server, you do not need to type the HTTP things, right? Actually, it's not good way. Think about if you move this document to a different server, then you need to change that HTTP URL value. If you do not update, you may get the wrong one. Yeah, right? Yeah. So that's why if it is in the current server, use the usual path string to represent your image location. Do not include the URL. Do not include the HTTP, that portion URL. Yeah, that portion URL. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's the syntax, the basic syntax. All right. Let us look at some more information about image. Yeah. That images are not technically inserted into a web page. Images are linked to web pages. Let me explain. Yeah. What do you mean not technically inserted? Yeah. Here, let me explain the procedure for web browser to render a web page containing one image. Otherwise, so you may feel hard to understand. So what do you mean technically inserted, right? Yeah. All right. So when a web browser displays one HTML document containing one particular image, okay, yeah. When it renders this document, at the beginning, yeah, because when I talk about procedure, there is a step-by-step, okay? At the beginning, when the content of the document is rendered, the image is not there, okay? The image is not there, yeah. The image, at the image place, just the browser uses a placeholder, yeah. This place some image to be referenced should be placed there, but it will be resolved later. Okay? All right. The first time, render the content. Then, after that, because a placeholder for that image is there, so the browser needs to go to the location, this URL, specific location, to load the image. After the image is loaded, then put that placeholder to render it. Yeah. So there is another trip. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see there are many trips. If you have images in a web document, one trip, it is not enough to get everything loaded. Okay, yeah. The first trip to the server, image not loaded in the first trip. All right. But after the first trip, you have many images, many placeholders. Then those images will get resolved with the following several trips. The first image, one trip to get the first image. If we have a second image, another trip to get the second image, and so on, until all the images are loaded from either the same server or many different servers. That's the whole procedure of image loading. Yeah. If you understand this kind of procedure, now you understand images are not technically inserted. Yeah. That means you do not get a HTML document containing all the images just in one document. Okay? Because in one document, you may understand one trip, you load one document containing all the images. That's not the case. One trip, you get all the content of the HTML document containing all the images. That's not the case. The case is, multiple trips. Okay? The one I just described it. That procedure. All right. Yeah. So that's the explanation for this point. Yeah. Then the image tag creates, holding place. Yeah. So that's why I said, placeholder for the referenced image. Yeah. So that's included in my explanation. Yeah. All right. Next topic I want to explain, image size. Use width and height or style attributes. Here use width and height or style attribute. This style attribute we leave to CSS. When we learn CSS, we can address this part, style attributes. in CSS. So this is a big part, a very important big part. All right, so here we just look at the width and height attributes for an image. When we display an image, other than src and alt, we can specify the size of the image. If you do not specify, so here if you do not specify, the original image size will be used. Original image size, whatever it is, very large, very small, you just use the original image size. In most of the cases, we use the original sizes. If it looks fine, first you check if it looks fine. Otherwise, you need to change size. If it is too big, you need to change the size, make it smaller. If it is too small, you need to enlarge, make it larger. All right. So there is another way you can change using the percent way. So original size you treat as 100%. Because you do not want to do math calculation, right? You do not want to calculate, multiply some percent number. You just specify percent for width and height, so you can do the shrinking, enlarge. You can also do enlargement. All right, so at this point, give you a question here. How to resize an image without distortion. Because here there is a distortion issue. When you set different size there, for this one, it's easy to avoid distortion because you use percentage way. You can avoid distortion, right? But when you use the pixel number here, 600, 500, that's the image pixel number, that size. When you use the image pixel number, how to avoid distortion? Here I should point out, when use image pixel number, how to avoid distortion. This question, okay? In our textbook, there is a solution. Our textbook describes some solution, so you can go there and read that part. Another way you can find the answer, do the web search. The web search, you can find many solutions. But based on my experience here, because when I ask you this question, I try to find the answer myself. So based on my experience, our textbook, the answer in the textbook is not good. It's not very good. It's not the best. At least it's not the best. And the answer you'll find in the web search, most of the solutions not good. Most of the solutions not good. And the best solution, it is very hard to find. The best solution is very, very hard to find. Okay? So later at some time, I will give you the best solution. But the chance one can find that in web search is very small. All right, so later at some point I will talk about that solution. Here just give you some small research topic so you can do study on this issue a little bit. All right, so next, our second element, hyperlinks. So what is how to do hyperlinks? We know, we're familiar with hyperlinks, right? The element using hyperlinks also pretty easy. So we know HTML, the most important idea is hyperlink idea. Remember, going back to the history, Tim Berners-Lee proposal, right? Yeah, web. So hyperlinks. That's the biggest idea in Tim Berners-Lee proposal. Yeah. All right, so here for the detailed syntax to use a hyperlink like this. A element, little a, one character. The tag only has one character, little a, refers to anchor element. Anchor element. So then attribute href, the value should be URL. That URL points to the document we want to reference. Yeah. So that document, that's the target of this hyperlink. Yeah. So we may call, the target document. All right. Href, the attribute name, refers to hypertext reference. Okay. Here, so you can understand, the meaning, the way to use a hyperlink. Yeah. All right. Types of resources. Now let's look at some more details. Types of the resources. Yeah. An HTML document anywhere on the web. Anywhere. It could be in the same server, it could be in remote server, right? Yeah. Think about the way we refer to an image. Two possibilities, current server and the remote server. The current server would not need to specify the whole whole HTTP : that part. We skip that part. Remote server, we have to provide the full HTTP string. Yeah. Here we have the same situation. Yeah. So anywhere on the web. Yeah. A specific location in the current document. Yeah. There is another situation. Yeah. We may want to refer to different locations in the current document. We want to use a simple way, to refer our readers to go to different locations in the same document. Okay? Yeah, the syntax is this. We use this special symbol, hash symbol, or sharp symbol, or pound symbol. Yeah, many different ways to call it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This symbol, hash symbol, sharp symbol. All right. When you use this one, you can refer to the location of, different paragraph, different element. Yeah. But you need to define this location, right? When you refer to some special location, you need to define it. How do you define it? Yeah. Then you go to the particular location, that element, you define in this way. Yeah. Suppose this content is the place you want your user jump to this place. To jump to this place, you need to assign some special symbol to it. Here, tag name, yeah, you can put some special tag name, whatever it is. So you have freedom to choose the tag name. Yeah. If no specific tag name, can you do a p tag? P tag, right? Paragraph, content. Then this ID. How about that? If nothing, you can use a p tag. All right? Even because for the tag, think about the tag. How do we define tag? For the tag, if you do not use p tag, you can define your own tag. How about that? My tag. My tag. Remember the browser, if it cannot recognize it, it will ignore it, but it treats it as a tag. It cannot do anything special for that tag, but it treats it as a tag, right? Yeah. So if you like, you can even define your own tag. There is no violation. Okay, but after you have a tag name, you can assign ID. You have to use this ID. Why use ID? This related to the CSS. Okay, yeah. Here, there is some knowledge we may need related to CSS. CSS, when we want to refer one particular element, we have multiple ways. ID way is one of the ways we refer one particular element. Here we borrow that way, put here. Yeah. Later, when we go to the CSS topic, we will learn more details there. Yeah. So here you just, we use ID attribute to define the name of this element. ID is for a name, right? Yeah. When we use ID on one element, we want to assign a name to that element. So later we can refer to it. So here, that is the situation. After we assign this ID to some particular content, then here we refer to it. Then when user click this link, the browser will jump to that location. Yeah, so I think you should have some experience with that kind of behavior. Yeah, you should have that kind of experience. Click one hyperlink, you jump to the same document but different location. Yeah. All right. But there is another situation you may have. You click a hyperlink, it connects to a remote document. This URL, we may have some remote document. All right. But when you go to the remote document, you don't want to start from the very beginning because you want to jump to somewhere in the middle, right? Somewhere in the middle, because in that way, you can point to the right location to your users. Your users just read the, content at the right place immediately. The user does not need to go through the whole document to find the right place, right? Yeah. So in that way, then you can use this, sharp append, sharp symbol ID name right after the remote URL. I hope you can understand, all the logic, the whole logic here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Then the next one, a link does not have to be text. Here we're talking about the text link, right? Other than text link, we can have other types of links. Yeah. A link can be an image or any other HTML element. Other HTML element. Yeah. Image. Yeah. All right. For example, if you want to use an image as a hyperlink, you can do it in this way. So the content is the image. You put image as the content of your hyperlink. When user click that image, then the browser jump to URL specified by this hyperlink. So this simple feature, I will create one programming question for this feature. So you will do it. Yeah, you'll do it by yourself. Okay. So try to get experience doing this. Yeah. All right. Another special way to use the hyperlink, call a JavaScript function. Yeah. We haven't learned JavaScript. Yeah. Later, when we learn JavaScript, we have a way to connect hyperlink to a JavaScript function. Yeah. The syntax is like this. So you have hyperlink as the value of your href you provide lowercase JavaScript colon, then the function name you want to call. In this way, when the user click this hyperlink, you call your JavaScript function. You provide a definition for this function. Yeah. You know, you provide definition, yeah, somewhere. Yeah, we will talk about that. When we learn JavaScript, yeah, we will, you know, do some simple examples using this way. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's the, you know, basic usages for hyperlinks. Yeah. But here there is one restriction rule for using hyperlinks. The content of an anchor element cannot be another anchor element. Yeah. So make sure you follow this rule. Yeah. You cannot put, so here link text, you cannot put another element, anchor element in this part. No, that will, you know, that violates the rule. So the web browser will have problem. So, you know, the expected behavior for web browser, it refuses to do anything. Okay, when you break any rule, yeah, when you break any rule, the web browser refuses to do anything for you. Okay, yeah, stop working here. Yeah, all right. So that's the first video, B.1. All right, so let's stop here. Yeah.